it comes to women, when it comes to marriage. But are you okay?
This thing what they call living in bondage is real. Already people ready make a die.
Tuface Idibia was asked what his thoughts were on marriage, and he's talking about it's feeling like living in bondage. You guys, we all know that Tubaba has been married just once for all we know, and the person he was married to was our very own Annie Idibia. Oh, Macaulay now. So, is he trying to insinuate that the years he spent with Annie were like he was in bondage? It's a real show. You're welcome to the channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Nedu Wazobia is back. The podcast that used to cause plenty wahala, the podcast that wants to scatter Nigeria. Anyways, this time around, he has a different podcast, different from the one that he was in that had issues, and he left. Now he's doing his own stuff, and Tuface is his guest. Now he's talking about relationships, and Tuface is saying that living in bondage is real. And I'm trying to do a recap, a recap of this whole relationship, because when we knew these people, it was from African Queen. Yes, she was like a video vixen there. Obviously, they were dating on and off, but people look at Tuface and Annie and they're like, oh, he really sang African Queen for this lady. This lady was the person he used to portray his African Queen, supposed to be like top of the pedestal of a Nigerian or an African woman, like what an African woman should attain to be, like what an African man should want to sing or say to his wife, to his queen, to his number one woman. That's all we could think when we saw Tuface and Annie Idibia. Then their whole marriage and relationship kept on having issues back and forth, breakups, makeups. And when they eventually got married, for a lot of people, it was like, we knew it. These ones were meant to be. These ones are soulmates. Even though it was a lot of chaos here and there, they made it through. They sealed it with a wedding that he even sang another song for her. We're like, okay, this is it. This is what it's supposed to be. Even though sometimes it didn't look like it, but it felt like they were holding on to each other. Now, to see that Tuface actually left this marriage, remember that a month ago he came out on social media and announced that this marriage was over. In a few minutes he ran back and said, okay, his account was hacked. He ran back again after a few minutes and said, nobody hacked my account. It was all me. I am done with the marriage. I and Annie don't even live together anymore. We've been separated for a bit. In fact, I have a new girl, our very own Natasha Idibia. You guys. So it was as if that announcement was what we needed, or what he needed, to break the spell and move on with his life that he had already been moving on with, but it was just like kind of hidden from the public. Annie was going through her own stuff. It was said that she was in rehab. She was trying to get herself together. Her friends came out and were not happy about the fact that Tuface came out to embarrass his wife, Annie, the way he did, considering that she was going through tough times. Looking at all these things now, can you see now that it feels like Tuface, according to what he's saying, felt like he was finally free, like he could finally breathe when he made that announcement? If he could come on social media on a podcast and describe marriage to be like living in bondage. You guys, remember during the Young, Rich and Famous African TV show that Tuface and Annie were on, Tuface said at some point that Annie's love was kind of scary to him, that he was scared of, leaving, or scared of how intense she loved. So do you think that the intensity of her love was just too much for him? Maybe he just wasn't deserving of that love, because he never said this lady didn't love him. His issue was that she loved him maybe a bit too much. Now, if he described Annie's love as living in bondage, is Natasha's relationship living in bondage? Because we see Natasha holding him tight. Literally, this man follows her to work. He's everywhere she is. He's engaged to her. And I think they are planning the wedding, because she's already answering Idibia, according to her. So if he's talking about married being living in bondage, why does he want to enter another bondage? Or is it a case of he just changed the color of his chains? He wants to be chained in this relationship and married thing, but he just wants to change who he's in the bondage with, who he's caged into this whole bondage scenario with, because you just jumped out of one bondage and you're happily jumping into another bondage. I think this is a Tuface problem. What do you guys think? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section. What do you think Annie Idibia's reaction will be when she sees this post from a man she spent years with, being married, and has children with? I don't want to think of his children's reaction to this post, because a lot of them are old enough to see social media. What are your thoughts, guys? Please share. It's the Real Show, y'all. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. I'll see you in my next video.